Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to AQIES. Now, what exact role geography plays in your preliminary as well as your mains examination? Now students, when I speak about geography, now geography is one of the most important subjects if you look at the civil services examination. Now, when I'm saying the importance of geography, first of all, we have to understand how vast and what all scopes do we have in geography and what all approach we have to follow in order to improve our score in prelims as well as in your mains. Now, students, when I speak about geography, so geography is not just limited to here, I'm talking with reference to the mains examination. Now, when I'm speaking about geography, geography is not just limited to GS paper 1. Now, you have got its importance in GS paper 2 as well as in GS paper 3. Now, many people often they have come up with this thing that geography is quite based on science. Yes, definitely. I can say that geography in fact asks for the student that they have to be quite logical. The subject has got its scientific domain, no doubt, but yes, once understood properly, once understood clearly, these concepts can help you achieve those marks that you are actually aiming for. Now, for example, if I say, now let's start. Now, people, they have classified, and in UPSC as well, when we speak about the classification, there is a general classification that we have actually divided, or you can say we have classified the subject into various parts. Number one, we speak about general geography. Number two, we speak about physical geography. Then we have Indian geography. After that, we have world geography. And along with these segments, there is one very important thing. And in fact, trust me, I'll tell you that how both these subjects are connected. See in the subject, if you have read the subject properly, how it is actually going to help you in your environment ecology sessions as well. Now, for example, let's say I'm just talking about paper 1 here. So what exactly is the syllabus? Now you must have seen, okay, you should know what are cyclones, what are landslides, okay, various natural resources, various physical phenomena that are taking place, some aspects about Indian geography, some aspects about world geography. All these things are required to be completed. But the question is how actually you have to start it. What should be your approach? Now, students, if you ask me, I come up with a very simple and straight plan. First of all, this is a subject which cannot be ignored. This is something which everyone should keep in their mind. When I say geography, so you can say almost like 30 to 35%, okay? 30 to 35% of the questions asked in the preliminary examination. That means out of 100 questions, 30 to 35% questions are asked only and only from geography and environment ecology. What is the cutoff? When we speak about the cutoff, what is the cutoff in order to clear your prelims examination? Now, to be on the safe side, I will say that you can go for 50 plus correct questions. If you're going for 50 plus correct questions in your prelims examination, that means that should be your marks after all the negative marking. Once you are done with your negative marking and all, the total score should be above 100 marks. You have to keep yourself on a safer side. Now, what I'm saying is, if I'm comparing the subjects, see, which subject is offering you the maximum? Which subject is offering you the maximum? Polity, they will ask you a couple of questions, say 7, 8. Current affairs, it depends upon UPSC. Sometimes the number of questions coming from current affairs can be 20 plus, but sometimes it can be just 7 or 8. Same goes with history, same goes with economy, okay? Same goes with general science. But one thing which is very much fixed in your UPSC prelims examination, it is the number of questions that are coming from geography and from the section of environmental ecology. And that's exactly is the spot where we have to hit. See, the first target, I've seen many people following this approach that they are just focused towards answer writing. This answer writing is very much important. It is really very much important, but there has to be a proper schedule. There has to be a proper schedule. When I'm speaking about UPSC, so UPSC, it should not be forgotten that it is a 3-tier examination. And if you, in case, fail in any of these tiers, you have to repeat it 1 year complete. People following a strategy on just answer writing will not help here. You have to make sure that whatever I have read, and when UPSC prelims comes into picture, the most important thing is UPSC get into minute details. UPSC will definitely go for that place. When we are revising or when we are going through a particular concept, there are many people, oh, I have read this concept, this is quite easy, and I have understood before. Sometimes people, they forget to revise that, or you can say they don't have the required amount of time. They could not find out the time so that they can do the revision. So what happens? They leave that particular section. And UPSC generally strikes all those marks. And I'll give you a very simple example. A very simple examination. Many of my students, they have done the same mistake. I'm giving you this thing from world geography. Now, in 2015, there was a question in the prelims examination. See, even half a mark can make a difference in your prelims examination because the competition is cutthroat. You cannot say, okay, I just lost. When your one answer is incorrect, you not lose only 2 marks. Instead, you lose 2.66. That 0.66 can definitely make a difference at the calculation of the final score. Whatever is happening, you have to keep yourself aware. For example, I'm giving you something which is coming from the current situation which we have been following since past 11 or 12 days. In 2015, there was a question that was asked in the UPSC prelims examination: where are the Golan Heights located? Golan Heights, okay, Golan Heights. Where are the Golan, Golan, Golan Heights located? There were different options. I could not remember the options, but yes, there was one option with reference to Israel and Syria. Rest of the options, and in fact, in 2015, before the preliminary examination, like almost in the month of, it happened in the month of the examination took place in the month of August, and this event that I'm talking about, it happened in the month of February or March. Golan Height was definitely in picture. You have to go through what all events are happening around you. Similarly, if I speak about Tauktae, recently in news, tropical cyclone that came from Arabian Sea. Now, students, do you know that on an average till 2018, the total number of cyclones that emerged from Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea are just 5 in numbers? Just 5. And out of those 5, 4 they come from the area of Bay of Bengal, and 1 it comes from Arabian Sea. Now, what has happened in the year 2019? This thing got completely changed. The number of tropical cyclones that emerged in 2019 from Arabian Sea, they were 5 in numbers, whereas the total number of cyclones that emerged from Bay of Bengal were only 3. Can't you see a pattern change? Like It could not happen like this. It could not happen. Okay, some changes must have taken place. That's the reason we are seeing that initially the number of cyclones from Bay of Bengal were higher and from Arabian Sea were lesser. There has to be a geographical reason. You have to go and search for that reasoning, because in UPSC mains, in the question, they will ask you this thing, that in the past trends we have been seeing that the cyclones from Bay of Bengal, are larger in number as compared to that of the cyclones coming from Arabian Sea. So what exactly are those circumstances? What exactly are those situations because of which the number of tropical cyclones emerging from Arabian Sea are severe in nature, are more severe in nature as compared to the previous ones. You remember, students, last year there was this tropical cyclone that emerged from Arabian Sea. It was called as Nisagra, Nisarga, Nisagra. Now this Nisarga, Nisarga cyclone, it was of low intensity. The damage was done, but the damage as compared to that of Tauktae was very less. But if you see at the damage that we have seen with reference to Tauktae, like it completely affected the state of Kerala, it completely affected the state of Karnataka, the state of Maharashtra, the state of Gujarat, and moreover, many states in India, especially northern states like Delhi, like Uttar Pradesh, they observed a continuous rainfall because of the impact that was created by Tauktae. So you don't have to just read. Okay, your job should not be, okay, sir, I have read how does a tropical cyclone forms, what is an eye, okay, what exactly are the various categories, severe, very severe, extremely severe. Okay, I have learned these categories. Everybody will do the same. Students, when a student is preparing for an examination, obviously tropical cyclones is something which is in news. Everybody who is a serious test taker must have gone through all the concept of cyclone. But your question has to be what? Your question has to be that why? Why the intensity of Tauktae was most as compared to the previous cyclones which have seen in the past emerging from Arabian Sea. Your question has to be why the number of cyclones which are coming from Arabian Sea have increased suddenly. You have to go for this reasoning, students. That has to be your approach. That has to be the real way, how you have to study, how you actually have to analyze. That's exactly is being asked. Now, for example, if I say, okay, people say, sir, with reference to Indian geography. Now, majority of the teachers, what they do is, with reference to Indian geography, what will they do? They will teach you the entire physiography of India. An entire physiography of India means they will tell you about the physiographic divisions. Physiographic divisions like the Himalayas. Now, they will do the classification of Himalayas on various factors, sometimes on the basis of the boundaries of river. Then they will tell you about the northern Indian plains. Now, in northern Indian plains, they will speak about the Rajasthan plains, the Punjab plains, the Gangetic plains, the Assam plains. But your question has to be, first thing that should come into your mind, sir, Rajasthan plain. How? And why am I speaking about a Rajasthan plain? Because Rajasthan, like we know, is a desert area. So how come there would be an importance of plain? And if there's any plain, so what exactly is the reason? What about the agricultural growth? How the rainfall will matter? How the rainfall pattern will matter? So in that case, you have to get into it. You have to go through it. What exactly happens? What exactly are the small seasonal streams that we generally see during the duration of monsoon in the Rajasthan? What about those small streams which are known as RUHI, RUHI? What exactly is the importance of this particular seasonal stream? Same goes with Punjab. Now, why the areas of Punjab and Haryana? Why the areas of Punjab and Haryana have so much agricultural productivity? One basic reason that you know that all of you can say is, sir, because Punjab is known as land of five rivers. Yeah, absolutely. But then you have to see the latest agricultural trends. You have to see the latest productivity reports that are coming from Punjab and nearby areas. You have to go through it. You have to see that why there is a problem of salt erupting out of agricultural lands, and not just 1 or 2 hectares, hundreds and hundreds hectares of lands in Haryana. You can see that the salt level has come up. It is visible on the land surface. Why exactly has that happened? You have to see and you have to understand what exactly could be the cause. Why the fertility is now reducing? Why the salt, or you can say, why the salt content of the lands in Punjab and Haryana has suddenly increased? So in that case, you will see that what are the reasons required. So the reasons like excessive agriculture, excessive use of fertilizers, excessive use of pesticides, the water table, the water level, the underground water level that we are saying. See, nature has got its limitation. When you start overusing, when you start overusing any resource, it would definitely come to an end. Now, these could be some of the important reasons that you have to study. Yes, you have studied because Punjab is a land of five rivers. That's the reason we have the agricultural productivity. It won't suffice. Now, a smarter approach would be what? A smarter approach would be that you should know about all the doabs. Now, when I'm speaking about doabs, so it could be the Bali doab, it could be the Pisht doab, it could be the Sindh Sagar doab. Now, what is a doab? The land between two rivers. So you should see these things. You should understand these things. What are the various areas that you find here? Okay. And now, being a smart learner, your mind will strike. Your mind has to strike here. And that's exactly what we people will do here at AQIS. We will make sure that each and every teeny tiny detail of the topic is being delivered to you by us. See, students, our motive, our agenda is not just going to complete or finish the syllabus. Our objective will be to make sure that our students have learned each and every aspect of the subject, and they are in a state that whatever is being asked in the examination, they are absolutely ready, they are absolutely prepared to answer that particular question. So when I'm speaking about this should come into your mind. For example, okay, so many rivers, land of five rivers. So when such is the situation, aren't there any wetlands? Now here you have connected geography with environment. Obviously, when there are so many rivers here, there are got to be some wetlands. And here you can go through, okay, Harike wetland. Yes, sir, this is quite important one. I have read this thing. Similarly, on the foothills of shivaliks in Punjab itself, there are seasonal streams and they have caused a lot of erosion, a lot of erosions. Now, what exactly is that name? So you should know about those seasonal streams that, yes, sir, along with these rivers on the foothill of shivaliks, we are finding seasonal streams which are causing a tremendous amount of erosion. What exactly are those? They are chhoos. CHOOS. You know, this is how you have to link each and everything. Let's come to your northern plains. Okay, sorry, the Gangetic plains. Now, everybody knows, when we start with the preparation of plains, now we all know the concept of the moment river comes down. The moment river comes down, the first spot it falls at the foothills of Shivalik is known as Bhabhar. Now, what exactly is bhabbar? Bhabbar is a porous concentration, a deposition of small, large rocks, stones brought by the river itself. And it is such a situation where the river stream seems completely disappear because of the porosity of the stones which are present in that particular area. Now, this bhabbar region is spread up to 8 to 15 kilometers. This particular region is spread up to 8 to 15 kilometers. So you can just imagine the river stream completely disappears and it emerges again, and it emerges in a very tremendous manner. So the place where it emerges is known as tarai. Now the word tarai has got a Hindi meaning. Tarai, galatar karna, tarai, gilapan. So this thing should come into your mind. Sir, what all are the reasons? Now a smart learner will do what? Sir, where exactly the tarai starts? What all are the regions where we see the beginning of tarai? Then you can say, okay, your famous Jim Corbett National Park, a part of it comes under the region of tarai. Similarly, your Kaziranga National Park comes under the area of tarai. Again, you can ask, sir, when there is so much water, aren't there going to be any wetlands? Yes. So what you can do is you can remember all the wetlands state by state. Okay, this is the physiographic division along with the Himalayas, along with the plains. Okay, I have got a couple of wetlands. Okay, these particular wetlands, they are qualifying under the category of Ramsar sites. These particular wetlands are coming in the category of the Gangetic plain, and also they are coming under the category of either the Ramsar sites, or you can say National Wetland Development Program, Conservation Program, sorry, NWCP. National Wetland Conservation Program. So, you have to make your preparation smart. You have to make your preparation smart. Okay, we all know. See, knowledge has got no dimensions. And here at AQIAS, we believe in the same idea, same objective. We don't have any fixed dimensions. No. We at AQIAS, we try to provide whatever we can, the maximum, the place where you can get maximum. No other institution. See, you cannot claim anything that is it important or is it non-important, because the thing becomes important the moment it comes in the paper. And at that particular point of time, only thing that a student can do is regret that why didn't I study this? There have been many such instances. You have to be inquisitive, you have to keep asking questions. Okay, sir, we have seen, let's talk about the origin of River Ganga. We all know the origin of River Ganga takes place from Gangotri Glacier. Now, this is basic, which we have studied. But what about the word Dev-Prayag? And what about, if I'm talking about Dev-Prayag, I should also speak about Panch-Prayag. Now, there has to be this question. You cannot say, sir, this is important. No, you cannot be like that. They can ask you anything. What is Panch-Prayag, sir? Dev-Prayag, Rudra-Prayag, Karna-Prayag, okay, etc. You have to be careful. Now, when the Ganga River reaches plain at Haridwar, and after the pattern it follows from Saharanpur, you have to be very careful, because one very important thing, all the important civilizations in the world, whether we speak about the Indus Valley civilization, started at the bank of a river named Indus. If we speak about the Egyptian civilization, started at the bank of river Nile. If we speak about the Mesopotamian civilization, started on the banks of river Euphrates and Tigris. If we speak about the Chinese civilization, started on the banks of Pango River. So one thing, the one reason it should come into your mind, if Ganga is following this particular route, this particular pattern, then what all industries, what all things are important here? So here you can take the reference of Uttar Pradesh West, agriculture rich area. You should speak about Banaras, you should speak about Allahabad, you should speak about Gaya, places of spiritual tourism. Okay, in fact, Sagar Island. Now, there are many other such places where you can see lots and lots of business activities taking place. Kanpur at one point of time, Kanpur used to be the leather hub. So on the banks of river, you can see tourism, you can see agriculture, okay, you can see industries. So this is how you have to see, this is how you have to understand the pattern. It's not just that you have read, okay, the Ganga river comes from here, Alaknanda and Bhagirathi meets at Devprayag, and from there it becomes Ganga, and this is the route which follows, and it ultimately drains into the Bay of Bengal, forming a world's largest delta with the Brahmaputra river. No, you have to leave this pattern. What all are the important places of commercial importance, of agricultural importance, of spiritual importance, of tourism importance? Now, when I'm talking about this, you can connect, you have another aspect that you can connect. What would be that aspect? Such a long river. And like we know that in India, we have a lot of transportation hustles. Can't there be a waterway provision? One more thing where we can directly attach ourselves. Okay, waterway. What is the situation of the waterways that are being formed here? Are there any waterways on Ganga River? If yes, so what exactly is the route? I should know the route. So this is how you will prepare yourself for the transportation sector as well. Now, another thing, again with reference to physiography of India, you will come across the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats. Now, with reference to India's environment ecology, or if we say, or if we speak, that what are the hotspots of Indian biodiversity? The two hotspots, biological hotspots. Those two biological hotspots are, number one, the Western Ghats, number two, the Himalayas. And one thing is quite clear with comparison as compared to that of Himalayas, Western Ghats are, or you can say they are definitely having a larger amount of vegetation. A larger amount of vegetation. When you have a larger amount of vegetation, you have a larger amount of fauna as well. So from here, you can start with, okay, this is Western Ghats. Now, what are the important aspects? What are the important aspects? When you start seeing, okay, the Western Ghats starts from southern Gujarat, and it is a continuous chain. It is a continuous chain that is spreading from the southern part of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Kerala, okay, Karnataka. So what all are the various places, how these Western Ghats are making an importance here? If I give you an example of Karnataka. Now, you know Karnataka is known for producing, especially the Western Ghat region. Karnataka is known for producing one of the world's best coffees, coffee arabica, coffee robusta. Similarly, if you speak about Kerala, it is a hub for spices, spice queen. You can say that. Also, when we are talking about biodiversity, then definitely we have to speak about the conservation as well, conservation of the species, whether the plant or the animal species. So when I'm speaking about conservation, I should know what exactly the in situ conservation is, what exactly is the ex situ conservation. When I'm talking about them, then I should also see what exactly is the state or what exactly is the situation of animals right now in our country. So here we can go through, okay, these are coming under the threatened category of animal. These are coming under the category of endangered. They are about to extinct. I'm talking about the red data book here. So what you can do is you can directly connect the things. You can look at the maps. You can also come to know that the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve was the first biosphere reserve under the Man in the Biosphere program. So, you know, such ideas should emerge. Now, when I'm talking about so many rivers, there are, in fact, if we speak about the peninsular rivers, there are many peninsular rivers, okay, like Narmada, Godavari, Kaveri, Krishna, Tungabhadra, etc. Now, so many rivers. If there are so many rivers, then there ought to be some hydroelectricity projects as well. So you can learn about the hydroelectricity projects as well. You can connect what all are the hydroelectricity situations. Now, when I'm talking about the hydroelectricity, you are coming on to what? You are coming on to the renewable source of energy. See, students, in the time to come, the renewable sources of energy, they are the next big thing. And when it comes to renewable sources of energy, government right now is working very hard, especially if we speak about the ISA, International Solar Alliance between India and France. So you can come to know about that. You can also come to know about that by 2022, it has been declared by our Prime Minister that India would be producing 1,50,000 megawatts of solar energy, solar renewable energy, and 1,75,000 rest of. That means 1,50,000 will be for solar energy, and the remaining 25 megawatts would be from some other sources. Now, this is how you link, this is how you connect. Okay, it should not be done in a manner that, okay, once I'll go through the physiography, then again I will go through this particular pattern. It cannot be done like this. You have to make sure that whatever time you are utilizing, that time is to be utilized in the most efficient manner. Similarly, soil patterns. If we speak about the soils, you have to understand the rivers which are bringing sediments, the rivers which are bringing tremendous amount of sediments, and the region in which they are traveling, they ought to have alluvial soil. There has to be a deposition of alluvium soil. Now, there is no confusion. You can remember all those areas. Okay, these places are getting water supplies. These places are getting water supplies from the Himalayas. However, if we compare the Himalayan rivers, the sediments brought by the Himalayan rivers and by the peninsular rivers, the Himalayan river sedimentation is comparatively very high as compared to the amount of sediments which are brought about by the peninsular rivers. Basic differences you have to see, you have to understand. Look at the agricultural productivity, why the gangetic plains, why the northern plains are called as the grain basket of India. There has to be some reason, right? So you have to keep yourself aware. You have to open up your eyes. The answer writing is nothing but the knowledge that you know. See, I'm not talking about the static knowledge. Everyone has read a book. Everyone who is writing mains along with you definitely has gone through lots and lots of books. But what exactly would be the difference? What exactly would be that difference? That difference would be that how exactly am I making my student, or how exactly am I making my answer written in such a manner which is point to point. I don't have to beat the stick around the bush. I have to be very specific. The more and more data, and that data should not be in the form of static info, because static is known by everyone. If you can come up with something new, if you are aware, if you know that these are the latest changes, these are the latest developments, see, this is how you make your answer better. Why in the same question a person is awarded 6 marks or sometimes maybe 7, and why in the same answer a person gets awarded only 2.5 marks? It's not about the static knowledge which is being checked by the examiner. It is the content. It is the relevance of your answer with that to your question. If it's not relevant, if you have just written a kahani, if you have just written a story, I'm not interested in reading a story right now. Seriously. I want my answer to be completely contentful. So you have to prepare the question that way. And just by reading the books, it's not going to help you. Trust me, it's not going to help you. Now, when I speak about the natural resources, now in the natural resources, a very important segment of GS Paper 1 Geography, natural resources. So we speak about coal, we speak about petroleum, we speak about iron, etc. Now here you have to see India's position. What exactly could be India's position? What exactly could be the way how India is going to perform in the time to come? What about the reserves we have? Now, you people must be knowing this thing that India has got a very great technology when it comes to nuclear energy, but the problem is we don't have ample amount of resources. Now, you all must be knowing that India is one of the top countries who has got the thorium reserves. Thorium reserves, monazite sand deposits on the beaches of Kerala. We have plentiful of thorium reserves there. Now, your question could be framed that how India's energy crisis can be solved and how the nuclear energy can help India solving it. So here you have to see India's relation with three very important countries like Australia, who exports uranium, country like Canada, again exporting uranium, country like Kazakhstan, again exporting uranium. So you have to see what exactly is the relation and what all developments are being done. You should also be aware about the nuclear program in India, how actually the nuclear program that was decided by Homi Jahangir Babaji, how exactly is it working and what pattern is it following? What was the first stage? What was the second stage? And when we speak about the thorium-based reactors, because when we have ample amount of thorium with us and we don't have to ask, we don't have to seek permission from anyone. So why aren't we focusing towards development of thorium-based reserves? Yeah, thorium-based reactors, sorry. So we have to see how you have to actually mention that these are the challenges and the complications we are facing, and these are the particular solutions that being done by the government in this particular direction. And maybe by a year or couple or so, or maybe by 10 years, we will be able to achieve the mark, the level that we want to do. You know, you have to write your answer this way. You have to keep yourself aware. Now, same goes with petroleum reserves, same goes with crude oil, same goes with iron. Okay. So, you know, this is how you have to see the present status, the major exporters, the major importers for one particular place. Energy is something which is going to be the future. Energy, entire world, entire organizations, entire MNCs, they are running behind this one particular idea. Okay, so you have to be very specific, you have to be very informative in your answers with reference to these. Now, this was the importance of geography in GS paper 1. See, if I speak about GS paper 2, now all of you will say, sir, how come GS paper 2 has got relevance with geography? No, it has got, and that to a tremendous amount of relevance. GS paper 2 is not just about constitution, polity, okay? It is also about international relations. And in order to understand the international relations, you have to see the geopolitical situation. And the geopolitical situation can only be assessed once you have a complete information about geography. Now you say, okay, non-aligned movement. It was started by three people, majorly. The three pillars were Pandit Nehru, Colonel Nasser, and Yugoslavian leader Tito. These people, they started this non-aligned movement. Okay, fine. But Colonel Nasser, he was from Egypt. But what were the situations? What were the events that actually made Egypt get into war with Israel in 1967, which is also known as the 6-Day War? You know what? One very important concept I'll tell you, that of all the Arab countries, Egypt was the first country in the world that recognized Israel. Can you imagine an Arab country recognizing Israel? So here you have to see what were the reasons, what made Israel or what made Egypt accept Israel as a nation. So here the answer will come from the past struggles. The Six-Day War of 1967, where Israel captured Sinai Peninsula, the area near Suez Canal. You will not believe, but the economy of Egypt is very heavily dependent upon the transportation that takes place on the Suez Canal. How Israel actually manipulated Egypt. How it actually manipulated Egypt. That first you accept me only, then I will give you Sinai Peninsula. So at the time of their survival, the question that was standing in 1973, the question that was in front of the Egyptian people was, it's about our survival. This brotherhood will not going to help us. So ultimately they became the first Arab country to accept Israel as a sovereign nation. The importance of Sinai Peninsula, the importance of Suez Canal. What exactly is the connection between the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea? How that entire area is geographically very important. Now, similarly, again, we are talking about Israel, so we should know about two important places where this entire fight is being fought: the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. India also supports the cause of Palestine. India also has very good relations with Israel. So what exactly India should do? What should be India's role? Or India should be like, I don't know, you guys please sort it out by yourself. No, India cannot do this, anything like this. India has to make its presence. India is always regularly supporting the two-state theory that actually came under the charter, or you can say the resolution of 1948 by the United Nations. But the implementation could not be done because of PLO being divided into two different factions, Hamas and Fatah. Fatah was leaded by Yasser Arafat. Later on, Yasser Arafat died. Hamas had got its all control. Like, there is a lot of politics which is involved. But you have to understand how trade will gonna get affected. The Gaza Strip is a coastal area. Similarly, international relations with reference to Africa. What exactly is the increasing power of China in the region near Gulf of Aden? You must be knowing China has purchased a port in Djibouti, the Horn of Africa. You know, so such places, in order to understand such things, again, geography has a very important role to play. You have to see, you have to understand. Until unless you don't know the geographical location, how can you tell, how can you actually even define the strategic importance, the defense importance of that particular place? If you look at India, here in India, many people can say, okay, Andaman Nicobar, they are just islands. They're maybe a tourist attraction, but no, they are not. Andaman and Nicobar Islands are one of the most strategically important areas for India. It is the place from where we can tighten China. We can keep China under control. Because if China decides to make an entry through a naval route, the first thing it would be facing, it would be the Indians in the Indian Ocean. So you have to see that this is how these things work. This is how the real aspect is to be understood. Then coming on to paper number 3, GS paper 3, like I said, both environment and ecology, along with the disaster management. They are really very important in your prelims examination, and you have an entire paper, okay, on this particular topic in your mains GS3. How See, we're talking about cyclones. Okay, when we speak about cyclones, we have Tauktae. Now, when cyclones come into existence, we should know a couple of more things about how the naming of cyclones is done. Okay, what all ideas, how many members, like we can say that if we speak about the Indian Ocean region, so we have a total of 13 countries. These 13 countries, that includes Pakistan, that includes Maldives, that includes Iran, okay, that includes India, that includes Bangladesh, okay, Myanmar, etc. All these countries have got the liberty that they can give a name. If I'm speaking about the name Tauktae, so what do you mean by Tauktae? Tauktae means a gecko lizard, a gecko lizard. So the names are being given, how the names are being given, it is to be known. But again, important thing, when this cyclone has hit India, what exactly have been the initiatives that have been taken by the government? So here, disaster management, NDRF comes into picture. You have to see, you have to study, you have to analyze how exactly a disaster is being tackled. Right now, under such situation, we are facing COVID situation. Okay, COVID situation. The Disaster Act is right now applicable. It is in working. So, what are the various features? You know, nothing special, nothing extra is being asked in the examination. It's everything that happens around us. Everything that happens around us. And trust me, students, when it comes to environment, biodiversity, conservation, etc. Now, people have just made a hoax out of it. The right approach to environment and ecology is very simple. It has got a very limited syllabus. Very limited syllabus. See, when you are preparing for your examination, you cannot be like, okay, can I leave this thing, or shall I not study this thing? No, it cannot happen in that way. The correct approach has to understand the various things. When I speak about the ecosystem, understanding the ecosystem isn't difficult. What exactly is ecosystem? What exactly is it made up of? What is biosphere? What is organism? What are the various units? What is a community? How does a community live? What are the various relationships? For example, what is parasitism? What is etc. Now, you don't have to consider it as a burden upon you. It is a sequence, it is a pattern which is required to be followed. Once you are done with that, I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you students, and I'm 100% confirm, I'm 100% confident about my approach. That the kind of approach that we are going to study here at AQIS will definitely enable you score amazing score, amazing marks in both your preliminary as well as your mains examination with reference to geography, environment, ecology. All I want is that please kindly follow the initiatives, please kindly follow the tricks, please kindly follow the pattern that I am discussing with you guys. So once you have done that, I'm 101% sure that these things will definitely work out for you and are, you can say, they are definitely going to be of really very great importance. So students, this was my introductory session with you with reference to geography. I think I have discussed a couple of things here, and you might have found all those things to be applicable. I'm SRIKANT TRIPATHI. Okay, always remember this video was presented to you on AQIS, one of the best institutions for the preparation of civil services examination. Thank you very much.